Hi. Okay. I need to recalibrate my cards. So I'm not going to do a reading right now. I'm just going to recalibrate my cards, but I figured I would just make a video while doing that. I'm not sure I am going to talk much during it. I may or may not. So, just figured it was a good thing to do. I wish I could set this up so that you could see better what I'm actually doing in the recalibration, but I guess that's not important. Okay. What's on my mind right now? Not that anybody asked, but so I'm not trying to call anybody out. I received a text from somebody I have been dealing with. This was from, I'm not trying to, I guess, okay. My roommate made me incredibly uncomfortable last night. He had already pushed the boundary with me the other day and swore that he felt embarrassed by it and that he felt some way about it. We kind of discussed things, but I was still trying to be kind. Understanding. So we talked a bit about it, but like I said, like the way that I communicated things wasn't so super direct. I kind of left space for him to catch my vibe and then go off of that. I generally don't like to, I'm getting in a place where I'm going to have to, but I don't like to have to set such strong boundaries, to be honest. It's not like a fun thing for me. Some people love it. Some people get off on it. Some people like being dominating. That's the issue, I suppose, because I'm not that way. And so then people get the assumption that I'm because I like to be submissive, that I'm a pushover. And that's not the case. I might be more patient than most. I might be more forgiving than most. But I'm not weaker than most. I'm not dumber than most. I might be more understanding than most. I'm not ignorant. People mistake what I offer for their best, what they could offer, where they are. They don't see me, they can only meet me where they have met themselves, right? That's what I've been told. That's what I've been told, which I suppose to some degree is certainly true. But, I mean, that's a hard pill to swallow for the fact that that says so much more about me than I've been willing to see about myself. It says that I actually have been far more aware and in control and capable. than I ever believed myself to be, I suppose. Because when I've been, you know, confronted with specific experiences, I have generally always been able to, not always, it's not like, I'm not trying to say that like I'm like constantly so consistent or I'm so great, but generally speaking, my go-to is to be as understanding as possible, you know, and to be able to be gracious, to be able to receive from my experience, to make the most of it for everybody involved, to not, you know, view people as innately one thing or the other. I believe that people can change. I believe that people, and that's what I've been told, is that that's coming from my capacity for those things, that I can change, I can develop, I can grow, I can learn from my experiences, and so I tend to assume the same of others. I prefer to be kind and compassionate. I prefer to be understanding. And so I assume the same of others, which is fair and obviously not true. Not everybody is given to those things. Not everybody wants to be given to those things. I don't know if that's true, though, because honestly, even when people are intentionally trying to be deceitful with me, the impression that I get is like, even that is coming from a point of jealousy or a point of like, if you're jealous of me over something, if there's something that I do or a way that I am, and you are going to treat me bad because it makes you feel some type of way, jealousy that way, then that is a subconscious acknowledgement that what I have to offer is superior. Why wouldn't you want what is superior? No, my concept is that the average individual has an awareness of those things, but doesn't actively always identify themselves by those things. Often, in fact, people lie to themselves and convince themselves that they are not capable of the superior, that they're not capable of what's best, that all their worth is some shit, being some type of shitty way. And that's why they find themselves jealous of others that show that they have something that this person perceives themselves not to have. But if you can see it in someone else, if it's part of your reality at all, it's coming from within you. Everything is only a manifestation of you. To me, that's become a basic process of my reality and my experiencing my reality. But I suppose I didn't always know that. I just learned these things very early. I'm having to learn how to be both stronger, like more straightforward, not less forgiving necessarily, but less like making excuses for people to a degree, but also like more gracious, as I understand that like I really did learn a lot of these things at a very young age. You know, I was raised in a Christian home, which regardless of how truly Christian it was or not, or how, you know, perfected it was in Christian theology or not, that as having a moral basis to work off of, especially since I've moved away from Christianity. I'm not a Christian, but being raised Christian was a very beneficial thing for me because it enacted a specific sense of discipline that I don't think I would have had innately or naturally, that helped me to, as an adult, be able to engage in a certain level of discipline that comes far more, it does come naturally to me now because it was such an integrated part of my development. And that's something that my roommate and I had talked about when I first met him, actually, because he was raised atheist, but has since become Orthodox and cares very much about having these standards, but it largely in part comes from him not feeling sufficient as an adult and having this drive to instill some type of innate discipline within himself because he feels like he lacks that. And so then he sees me, where like when we talked about it, like those things come naturally to me. I'm actually trying to branch out and move away from a lot of those different standards that just come innately with me, but he lacks that, right? So like he sees like this point of like me having not just what he wants, but then being able to like, I don't just have it. I'm not just a religious person that has what he's looking for. I also now have integrated that so fully that I can move past that into being able to just enjoy my experience with that being a genuine aspect of who I am. And so I imagine that that is where a lot of this innate frustration comes from, especially when it comes to the misogyny. We can joke around about those things a lot. That's a big part of my sense of humor, is being misogynistic. It is a satire. I'm a woman. But I am a woman that was raised by misogynists, and I am a woman that tends to, I struggled with my gender expression for most of my life, for the majority of my life. It was only it was last year that I officially came out as a woman. Up until then, I had always considered myself somewhat trans, like a trans man, like I'm a man in a woman's body, but I like to portray myself as a woman. I like to be in the feminine. I like to be received as a woman. I like to engage in what would be considered heteronormative relationships, but I have always recognized myself as a man in a woman's body, right? So it took a long time for me to be able just to like come to this conclusion that no matter what I do, no matter how masculine I act or, how anything I do, I'm still a woman. And to embrace that and to be like, okay, so this is what a woman is. That for me was what brought me the most healing, because I was constantly conflicted, not feeling good enough as a woman, not feeling like I could meet any of these standards that made me truly feminine, always feeling like, and every once in a while I still get it, but now the gender dysphoria is different. It used to be that I was being validated by feeling like a man, and now it's like every once in a while I get triggered when a lot of people assume that I'm a trans man, largely in part because of the way that I act, the way that I talk, the things that I say, and because people are just confused nowadays. They don't trust themselves, and they don't trust the nature of those things. And, there's so many people, like especially cis males, that like have this innate fear of like, what if I find the perfect woman and she ends up being a man? So I get it a lot. And it's an obvious projection, and I will communicate those things right out front, and that's part of my satire. That's part of my comedy, is to be able to express as a woman these concepts, and then to I do it where I act like a dude bro, and I act like, a super masculine, like a macho masculine, I was raised with those types of things and everything. So like with this dude, my roommate, like he is misogynistic, to a degree, at least. And that's been beneficial to some degree for him to hear me out about these things, but to also see that I'm a woman. However, what happens often with misogynistic males when they interact with me on that level, because I understand the psychology so deeply, that's why I'm able to make a joke of it. There's this weird push, because it's like, okay, so I'm finally understood by a woman, which is what I've always wanted. Like, this woman knows her place. She knows why I feel the ways that I do. She understands what I'm looking for, what I'm trying to do with myself, the validation of those things, and she's able to do that. However, she's also making a joke of it. So now I'm offended. And by her making a joke of it, she's actually making me feel emasculated. Now, it's weird and trippy for most people, and that's kind of the point. I'm just here defeating narcissists. That's kind of the point, honestly, in my humor, is because I create that safe space for men to be themselves that way, open about their misogyny, open about their disrespect of women in general. And I agree with it, and I totally get it, and I'll make jokes about it. But then the confusion sets in where it's like, well, yeah, okay, so she gets it, but at the same time, like, wait a second. She isn't just my dude friend, she's a woman, and I'm attracted to the fact that she can fill these roles, but she's so aware of it that it's intimidating. Now suddenly when she expresses these things, she's putting me in my place. She's making me feel like she's the dominant one somehow, even if I'm actively talking about being submissive. It trips dudes out. I do this for a very specific purpose. I do this for multiple purposes. This is who I am and how I am. But there is a role that I'm playing in that way. And for me personally, it's just because this is how I'm going to weed out who is and who isn't for me. Truly, there is a macho masculine that does meet those standards as a partner. Like, if I have an ideal partner, that's who they are. They do have those things, but they also like don't act, they just are that. They don't actually need to be all these ways in order to feel some type of way. Might be something that they've struggled with over time, but at the same time, they've actually embraced their feminine in different ways where, like, they don't have a problem being pretty and being masculine. They can be both. They don't have a problem doing physical labor and cooking. They don't have a problem, like, crafting with their hands and hunting. Like, there's these extremes that's masculine and that's feminine, and they do all of them because they know that they're the masculine. They're not confused about that. Or if they have been confused, they've been doing the work to work through those things. Perhaps they've had periods of time where they've had to open up their sexuality in different ways in order to try to understand who they are. I've always had an attraction to bisexual and homosexual men who are very masculine. One, because then we have something in common. I also very much like men. I also, I am a phallic worshiper. I far more than I am a yoni worshiper. Like, the phallus is something powerful and important, and I very much care to worship that. So I get this desire for those things within the man, and maybe they've gone through that, but that's how they've learned an appreciation for what women are. And generally, most of my partners have been somewhat gay, at least, especially in the heart. Maybe they enjoy sex with women and they like to continue to have sex with women, but ultimately what they're looking for psychologically or in like a committed relationship, it's a weird one. Generally, the partners that I've had are essentially gay men, but they're breeders. They want to be with women. They appreciate women. They enjoy being with women sexually. They want to be with women in order to create a family. And that's what they view women for. But they still have this different, separate attraction towards men and an appreciation for men in that way. And that's where like that bit of misogyny comes in as well. And I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that because I understand it. I myself am that same way. I totally get it. I like to have a partner that kind of has an idea of my place and my role in the relationship and can communicate those things and can hold me to that standard. I also expect that I'm going to be respected for being an individual I can prove that I'm an intelligent, capable individual. I can pretty much anything you can do, I can do, if not better. So there has to be that understanding that like as a woman like I am, the reason, like the power that I hold is to put myself at your feet in order to validate you, and that like that serves me as much as it serves you. Not that in my service of you I'm somehow below you. No, I put myself below you because of how powerful I am. There's like that understanding that needs to be respected, and it's just so rare to find. There's, generally the only men that I know that honor women that way do it at their own expense, and then they have to lower themselves in order to validate a woman that way. I've met a single man, one particular man who's actually been able to show me that balance. I knew it always existed, and I don't believe that he's the only man that has it, but as far as I'm concerned, like that's my ideal. I don't need to be with that person in order to feel valid. That's not what it's about whatsoever, but it is very validating to know that truly does exist. Even despite ways that others might have been like, well, that's disrespectful, or I can't believe that no, this person has always given me to me, the utmost respect. And also always respected themselves. They have never submitted to me in that way. They have submitted to me. I have watched this person, like, in our interactions, give me the space to be able to communicate my own beliefs, and then supported the fact that I am a capable individual, that I'm intelligent, that I'm hardworking, that I am sound, has validated those things for me. Absolutely. But without, like, it, like, bringing them down. You know, there's been times where, like, I've sat quietly and let them take the lead. There's been times where they've sat quietly and let me take the lead. Aware of, like, we don't have to compromise ourselves in order to work together. It's such a beautiful thing. I want the world to see it. I want the world to see so much more of that, because it's just so rare. It's so rare. And I've maintained myself being open to different types of relationships and stuff, but ultimately that's, like, the ideal. And that's going to stay the ideal. If you can't meet that, like, I don't know what the fuck you think you're doing with me. But that's the issue, because, like, the way that I am, like, I'm not going to explain myself to you. This is the most I would ever explain these types of things. Unless you wanted to sit down and actually have that type of conversation with me, but that would take you showing me that you're capable of having that type of conversation. That's the difference. This man came into my life and immediately proved himself to me by simply being exactly who he is and not being willing to compromise that for anyone. Yet he still humbled himself before me in different ways. He still acknowledged my capacities, acknowledged my powers, treated me with the utmost respect. We got a little disrespectful with each other in ways that we were okay with. That is something separate. I don't care what other people think that way. But ultimately, when it came to what other people were seeing in the relationship between us, it was always supreme. It was always exactly, each of us is fulfilling a very specific role. And we would bounce back and forth with each other. And that's without even having an actual relationship with this person. That's how I know that the masculine and the feminine truly exist the way that they do in the divine matter. And that when they work together, well, it's so sublime. It's perfect. It's perfect. Everything is perfect. Now, other people don't like it. Other people that aren't in that balance feel offended, feel jealous, feel intimidated by it, and start acting crazy. I've learned to cultivate that balance within myself in such a way, as much as that person can. When that person goes out and interacts with people, I'm sure they get the same sort of responses that I get. They get women all over them. They get women feeling some type of way. They get women being all intimidating, acting all crazy. They also get men being that way. And they continue to be themselves. You know, because it's not about how other people are receiving those things ultimately. But again, I do think that these things are important to see in the world. And, like, because I've already seen that, I conduct myself very differently now, like, than I ever have. This past year, it's 2025 now. Happy 2025. Happy New Year. But in 2024, I conducted myself very differently than I ever have. Yes, I slipped sometimes. Yes, I continued to act kind of like my old person to some degree. But at the same time, I also very much didn't. So, like, if I were to compare and look back, like I have been recently, at how far I had come in that 4 years from even just 2020, I was an entirely different person responding in an entirely different way to circumstances. And I only continue to develop through that. So, like, people don't know that about me. There's levels. I'm like an onion, right? I'm like Shrek. I'm like an onion. I got these little layers that you peel. You know, and I'm a mirror. I'm however you want to see me. You want to see me as bright and sunny and pretty and easy on the eyes. Like, I'm not going to be easy on the heart. I'm not going to, if you choose to see me in a shallow way, that's on you. I'm not going to be shallow just because that's how you see me. So, like, if that's what you're going to, if you see me as weak, if you see me as incapable, if you see me as lesser than, you're going to learn the hard way. If you actually wanted to respect me and see me for what I really am and what I'm really offering, I say things right up front. If you were willing to receive them the right way, there wouldn't be no question. But generally, most people want to fuck around and find out. They think that the fucking around is going to gain them something. Like, and I've let people fuck around hardcore in order to find out. There's been plenty of times I let people in my past fuck around and not necessarily find out. I trusted that karma would bring the thing. I'm not doing that anymore. I'm not doing that anymore. You fuck around with me, you're about to find out real fucking quick. Real quick. I ain't playing any games anymore. Not doing that. The second I made that determination, the second I stated that, I have somebody trying to fuck around and find out right away. And they got laid the fuck out. Literally on their ass on the kitchen floor. And they're gonna keep getting it because they didn't get the point even. Big ol' fucking ego. I ain't sacrificing myself for shit. Not for that. You've got to be out of your fucking mind. I am worth way more than you are even capable of recognizing. No, I am not going to sacrifice myself for your bullshit. No more. I got my own shit to deal with. I do not need any of your shit. No. So, welcome to the new year. We're all learning. Anyways, so my roommate fucked around and found out. Got his ass laid out and still hasn't gotten the point. Now he's fucking calling me. He's at work right now. But he asked me if I wanted to go to dinner with people that they know, people that used to live at the house. I met the people once. It's not that I don't want to go to dinner with them, but I want absolutely nothing to do with this roommate at this point. And that's what I told him. He invited me out to dinner. He was like, it's more free food. And I was like, to be honest, I'm about to be avoiding you like the plague. And unless it has anything to do with actual house matters, I want nothing to do with you and I'm not going to be friendly with you anymore. It's a quote. That's what I told him. And his response was, this makes me very sad. I'm sorry that people have hurt you in the past and it's made you mistrust me. I'm sorry that the way that people have treated you in the past has caused you to mistrust me. Which is fucking delusional, insane, egotistical, narcissistic bullshit. That's not how things work. It's not because of what people have done in the past that makes me treat you a certain way. You literally almost assaulted me last night. After I'd already told you that I would bring your ass to jail if you touched me without consent, that I would stab you if I fucking had to, that I'm not just going to allow the things that I've allowed in the past, and explained myself absolutely thoroughly that I was not interested in any of this, rushing up on me trying to kiss me out of fucking nowhere, and then being like, oh, good job for pushing me away. Like, you really want to find out, huh? I'm not one to be played with at this point. I am not. I don't give a fuck who you are, who you think you are, who I am, or who you think I am. I'm not concerned. I'm not scared about that shit. At all. Like, sit there and arguing me like, well, to just be your word against mine if I assaulted you, because, like, they have to believe a woman. Again, if I assaulted you, they'd have to believe you too. You can go to the cops and tell them that you've been assaulted by a woman and see how they respond to that. They'll respond essentially the same way. But ultimately, when it comes down to it, and especially if it came down to a court of law, a woman is going to have her fair share of rights in that regard for the fact that a man could easily overpower a woman. Why the fuck you think I keep a knife on me? You think I won't use that shit? I already took it out before and showed him how easily I can do it because he was already acting up. He thinks it's just a joke? Watch this dude find out. I swear to God. I'm not threatening violence, but I'm not going to let people assault me. And I straight up told him that you do not get to touch a person, put your hands on a person in any way without their consent, that is assault. And that I could go to the cops just as easily as I could defend myself against those things. You do not get to do that. Then tries to block me from going upstairs. So I threw his ass on the ground. Give a fuck. And I do it again. And if he keeps trying to fuck with me, we're gonna have a problem. Happy New Year. It's just one of those, like, I didn't like convince myself that things were, thankfully, actually, I was told that things weren't just gonna magically get better. In fact, the stronger I get and the more secure I get, the more it's going to make people feel some type of way, and they're going to try me. At least for this year. At least for right now. We're in the fuck around and find out phase, right? Which is fine, because that allows me the space and opportunity to be able to prove to myself and to anyone that wants to fuck around and find out that I'm being goddamn fucking serious. You ain't gonna fuck with me anymore. I ain't doing it. I ain't doing it. I can laugh, I can make jokes, you can think I'm an idiot because I don't know what's going on. Like, I literally told him before he even tried anything, because he was fucking drinking, right? I was drinking too, so he thought he could take advantage like he did last time. No, I gave you one time. I already learned. I shouldn't have had to fight you the first time. And I didn't. But that doesn't just mean you get to keep taking advantage. And I even brought it up to him that he had said that. And I was like, you don't just get to keep taking advantage because you already took advantage. I gave you enough. I told him that before. And then last night he tries the shit again. He decides not to drink another beer. He decides to go get a water, and then ends up seltzer water, and ends up spilling it on the ground. And it was like, oh, I was trying to do the wise thing, and I still fucked up. And I was like, well, maybe you weren't doing the wise thing, because what he was really doing was just trying to bide his time so that he could stick around me, so that he could see how vulnerable I was, so he could try some shit. I knew that before he even knew that. So when he spilled that drink, he should have brought his ass up to fucking bed. But instead he tried. And he found the fuck out. And ended up in the same fucking spot he had spilled that drink. Think that's a coincidence? Y'all don't even know the spirit team I got behind me. For real. Like, y'all don't even know the dimensions that I have working for me. You want to find out? That's fine. That's fine. This whole year can be about that. This whole year can be about getting people. I mean, because I've been asking for it. I asked all year for it. I'm fine with it. I'm okay with it. Last year, I was cultivated into the space to be able to be in this space. That's fine. But what's happening is that I was given the opportunity to take on a specific role. And what's going to happen now is that all of those prayers that I had, that karma is served properly, that those that want to fuck around will find out, and that those that are actually doing the right work will receive benefits and blessings. Yeah, we ain't fucking around this year. This is how it's going to happen. You fuck with me, if I can't make my decisions for everybody. I can't think for everybody. The universe has been screaming at people to grow the fuck up and start making choices for themselves and to start doing the right thing. Anybody at this point that hasn't made that choice, that thinks that they can still procrastinate and bide their time when it comes to certain things, there's certain things that we still have time. There's other certain things that it's already dead and gone, and you don't get to do that shit no more. How long ago was the Me Too movement? You think you're still gonna get away with acting like that shit? This fucking idiot. Hold on. I'm sorry. Yeah, no, this dude can absolutely fuck off. Alright. So yeah, that's what's been on my mind. Sorry. I know that was a lot. When I'm doing these cards, the way that I have them laid out right now, I have all of the court cards that I'm going to put in order of number. I have, I don't know what they're even called, like the Two of Swords, the Three of Cups, the Four of Pentacles, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, all of those. I have the Ace with the King, with the Queen, with the Knight, with the Princess. That's also the court. So these are actually the major arcana. These are the minor arcana. Arcane. That's what it is. These are the court cards. These are the majors. And so I just put them all in order, and then I separate them according to, like, the swords will go together, the cups will go together, the pentacles will go together, wands will go together, and they'll go together according to number, and then after that, and then after that, and then after that. And that's how I clear the deck. I put energy into it. This already, that's why I wasn't sure if I wanted to talk about things, because now I've been talking about things and it's like, I'm not trying to put all that energy into this. Thankfully, they're all laid out right now, but they're not properly organized. So now I have to clear this energy. I needed to get that out though, so that's okay. It's fine. That's the great thing about where we're at right now, is that like nothing matters that way. Like you have time. If you put your energy into the right things, the right types of ways, like you have the time, you have the energy. It's about, you know, moving your resources around. Right now, last year, whether you feel that way or not, last year, I promise you, gave you every single thing you need to move forward into the future. It's already yours, but you have to be willing to embrace that and to see it that way. That's it. It's already yours. It's already yours. And anything that you want, I gave my friend a reading this morning, and what I said to them, to some degree, is also true for everyone, which is that whatever you want is going to be manifested by the end of 2025. However, most people, unfortunately, don't know what they want. They don't know what they want. So we need to be spending this time really, truly making sure that we know ourselves and making sure that what we are manifesting is really what we want. Because everything that you imagine is going to be manifested. You know, and again, I'm not perfect. I'm not fully there either. I'm part of this process. I'm so thankful. It's such a weird thing because, like I've been saying, like I'm generally ahead of my time in a lot of ways, and now everything is right in alignment. Everything is right on point with where I'm at, which is beautiful and wonderful. Also incredibly humbling. Also exciting. It's exciting. I'm very excited for this year. And nothing's going to keep that away from me. Don't let them energies get to you. If you can look from a third person perspective at your current circumstances at any given time and say, well, this isn't serving me. This isn't what I want. This doesn't make me feel the ways that I want. This isn't what I'm after. This isn't leading me anywhere good. Leave. Move away from those things. Put your energy somewhere else. You do not have to apologize for that shit. We're done with that. The illusion is gone. It's over. Anything that's still trying to cling to make you feel some type of way ain't for you. Don't give it any of your energy. Move away from those things. Just got all the major arcana in there from 0 to 21 in order. I'm starting with 10, and I'm going to count down so that when I flip it, it's all adding up. Have Wands, Pentacles, Swords, Cups. Wands, Pentacles, Swords, Cups. Interesting. Pentacles, Swords, Wands, Cups. Swords, Pentacles, Cups, Wands. Cups, Pentacles, Wands, Swords. Pentacles, Wands, Swords, Cups. Cups, Wands, Swords, Pentacles. Cups, Swords, Wands, Pentacles. I also, depending on the deck, I've only done this once before and I only did it with one deck, but what I'm seeing now is because these decks are also different, and when it comes to these four, I put them in order of what seems least, not significant, but relative to most relative. So like most congruent to least congruent to the deck itself. So in this I'm doing I'm hearing Swords, Wands, Pentacles, Cups. We have Wands, Cups, Pentacles, Swords. Oh, I have to do this backwards. Cups, Wands, Swords, Pentacles. Cups, Wands, Swords, Pentacles. Wands, Swords, Cups, Pentacles. Swords, Wands, Pentacles, Cups. Swords, Pentacles, Wands, Cups. And we did Swords to Wands to Pentacles, Cups. All right. And there's my cleansed deck. Well, I'm going to do every one of these decks, but I'm not going to record it. That's all I got for right now. That's how I cleanse my decks. Recalibrate them, rather. Cleansing is when you use the Sage, or the Palo Santo in this case. The calibration is to reset them. And then the next time I use that deck, I will thoroughly shuffle it in order to get a clean read. But some people shuffle them before they put them back and then go, but I would like to leave fresh energy for whenever the next read that I do is. So that's how I'll be doing every one of these decks. Be slightly different for each one of them. I'm not sure exactly how I'm gonna cleanse the Oracle. Maybe I'll read that. Maybe videotape that later. But yes, that's what I'm doing, and I will see you later.